Welcome to the 8-Bit Ramblers podcast. This is our very first episode, and we're starting on December 29th of 2015. Things that we're going to do in this podcast, we're going to introduce who the 8-Bit Ramblers are, and then we're going to move on into something I called the Quick Time Question Event, and I asked the 8-Bit Ramblers a couple questions so we can find out a little bit more about them. Then we'll go ahead and transition towards some gaming news. We'll find out a little bit more about the Steam Christmas fiasco, and Pokemon Go and games that are coming out. And then finally, we'll transition into our topic of the week, and that will be our big discussion, and that covers narrative-driven games being called video games. And then... Should we start?
Yeah,
okay.
We can start.
Let's go ahead and introduce who we are as people. So the questions I'm going to ask the 8-Bit Ramblers, I'm going to ask them what their name is, what their first video game is, what their favorite video game is, and then their video game guilty pleasure. So, Ruben, why don't we start with you? What's your name, Ruben?
All right, I'm Ruben Chavez. The first video game I ever played would probably be either Super Mario Bros. Or Duck Hunt for the NES. I think they came bundled together, so I don't remember which one came first. I want to say Duck Hunt, to be honest, because it came with that cool orange gun.
Yeah.
My favorite video game, Wind Waker. I've been playing the HD remake on the Wii U. It's so nice. It's just so nice. And then my video game guilty pleasure, I would have to say... probably the early Sonic, like the 3D Sonic games, Sonic Adventure, Sonic Adventure 2. There's a few good ones, but like I feel like generally those ones are kind of panned as being not so good, but I love them. They're nice.
All right, my name's Emily. My first video game was also probably Duck Hunt. I remember standing right in front of the TV just to shoot the ducks because it's kind of hard to aim from far away. But the first game that I think I played a lot of was I had an older brother who forced me to play Killer Instinct for the SNES with him because he didn't have anyone else to play with. And then I would always pick Jago because he was cool. But he was probably the worst one, so it was a little rough. My favorite video game of all time has to be Half-Life 2. And yes, I am waiting for Half-Life 3 diligently.
It's not going to happen.
Never.
It's never coming out.
And my video game guilty pleasure, it has to be Viva Pinata for the Xbox 360. I received Viva Pinata for Christmas one year, and I think I spent 500 hours total on my pinatas. And then I actually recently got Viva Pinata Trouble in Paradise, and I've been playing that a lot.
Which one is your favorite pinata out of all of them?
Oh, well, you have to give it to the classic Wormel, because he's the first one that believes in your garden, because all you need is dirt. Yeah. But my favorite one has to be the sour ones, because they're really cute.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
They're very deadly, though, so I end up always making a new garden just to have the sour pinatas. And then poor Wormels come in, and they get eaten or eat rotten candy, and it's very sad. And I know too much about this game. Okay.
Do you like the sour ones like in their sour mode, or
yes.
I know like later on you can turn them into the good guys?
Yeah, it's like very specific ways you could turn them into good pinatas, but most of the time when they're sour, they're way cuter. Like the fox has these like the wolf one has like this cute tail, like bushy tail, and it's like really pointy and cute. And then when you turn it into a good wolf, it gets these big dopey eyes, and it like gets all scrunched up, and it's just like, this is lame. And the crow, like the Crowla, he looks really cool, and then when you turn him into a good pinata, he's just lame and kiddie.
I actually remember my favorite pinata were the snails, but as the good guy snails.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I
just like those ones.
I really like the mole ones, too. They're so cute. And then because you can give them little accessories, you give them little bottle glasses. So cute.
Okay, Jan, it's your turn to answer questions.
So, my name is Jan. My full name is Azarian. Amirul Mukminin. My first video game was Hexen. That was like 1990s, something like that. I was like 4, and I accidentally went up to the computer, and then my dad's like, hey, you want to play some video games? And I was like, sure. And he put on Hexen. And for those that are unaware of what Hexen is, like a normal person should be, it's Doom, but like medieval. So you pick out of 3.
Perfect for a 4-year-old.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you pick out of like 3 classes. One has like a mace, one has like wizard powers, and the other has like a bow, I believe. It could be wrong. It was a long time ago, and you just went around and slayed some demons. Very interesting first game, but definitely got me hooked. My favorite video game, let's see. I would probably have to say Ocarina of Time. I know Ruben disagrees with me, but it was the time I played it at. When I was a little kid, it was the very first game that made me feel like a hero, and I was important to the world. So that was really important for me. And my video game guilty pleasure would be very like. I get they're pretty like crappy. Well, a lot of them are, but I guess there's some good ones, and it would be like a flight simulator. That's my video game guilty pleasure. Ever since I was little, I really wanted to be a pilot. Okay, now let's go ahead and move on to the quick time question event. So I'm gonna ask Emily and Ruben open-ended video game related questions for fun, and they're gonna try to answer to their best ability as quickly as possible. It doesn't have to be the best answer, just the first one that pops up in their mind. If they really can't think of anything, then they can go ahead and hand it off to the other person. So are you guys ready to do some quick time questions?
Yes.
Sure.
Okay, so the first question is to you, Ruben. Okay, remember, this doesn't have to be the best answer. So, okay.
It's going to be the best answer.
Okay, so are you ready?
Yep.
Who is the worst dressed video game character of all time?
Oh, shit. Honestly, the first person who pops into my mind, the King of Cosmos.
Well, from
Katamari Damacy.
Oh, I didn't get to
He
play
has
that
the
game.
crazy, like, head thing. I don't
Oh,
know
is
if
it that
that's,
guy? The
yeah.
one with the really long head?
Oh,
I don't know if that's like a hat or if that's his head.
Yeah.
I feel bad if that's his head. But, like, if that's a hat, I mean, come on.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
You
That's
know,
it.
the first person I thought of was Waluigi.
What? He's dressed the same as everybody else. Just purple.
But he has that purple-yellow combination and just the mustache. Whoever styled him just took a day off.
He's just a tall Wario.
Yeah, basically.
I wouldn't say he's the worst.
Well, these are the first ones that come to mind. So,
Yeah.
you know, you can go ahead and tell us who you think is the worst dressed video game character if we got it wrong. So, but let's get second question. So, are you ready?
Yes.
Okay, so what is the most powerful weapon that doesn't require bullets in a video game?
The Hammer of Dawn.
Oh, that
from
is
Gears of War.
that is a perfect answer.
Of
That
course, it has one fatal flaw. The fact that it only works when, I don't even know, the satellite is in place, right?
yeah, I
Even
think
though
so.
it was suspiciously in place, very conveniently timed in the third one. So
It's like very suspiciously convenient almost every time, actually.
that's why it'd
Yeah.
be so powerful, because it'd be like, you know what? I think the satellite's in place. You're
just-
going down.
Just hold it down. So, what is there a weapon that made you?
I would say, I don't know. I want to say first thing that comes to my mind is the golden gun from GoldenEye 64.
Oh, yes.
It just kills everybody in one hit, even if they have like armor and everything like that.
You could say, like, the Keyblade.
But see, I was thinking like the golden gun does that, but in reality, all guns do that. Also, you said it can't take bullets. So
Yeah, it doesn't require bullets.
Then the Master Sword.
Master Sword?
Master
Oh,
Sword.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's a pretty good one. For some reason, I like most bow weapons. For some reason, are super powerful in nowadays games too.
Of
Oh,
course
yeah. Well, it's
not,
because
like-
they're the hardest ones to use.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So they have to offset with like, oh, and it's super strong.
Yeah.
yeah.
When in reality, it's like, no.
No, a bullet does the job a little bit better. You know, that's why we advanced through humanity.
Yeah.
Okay, so the next question, back to you, Ruben. Are you ready for this one?
No.
No? Okay,
Give it to
well,
me
too
anyways.
bad. Okay, so what is the most delicious looking dish / meal you have ever seen in a video game?
I'm gonna say anything from Kirby.
Oh. Yeah.
Anything from the Kirby games always looks instantly delicious. Like, even like fruits and vegetables.
Yeah.
Like, usually I see those things on TV and on cartoons, and I'm like, still no.
Mm-hmm.
But like, I see it in Kirby, and I'm like, oh, grapes. That sounds amazing right now.
Was there anything that came to mind when I asked the
Yes,
question?
I'd have to say the cake that you bake as Peach in Paper Mario. Just because I spent so long, because when I played it, I was so little, and it was like, okay, now bake the cake for 30 seconds. And when you start baking it, it starts making a ticking sound. And I was like, wait, is it in-game seconds? Like, are those the seconds? Or is it real-life seconds? So I ended up having to bake it like 4 times. But when it comes out, it just looks so delicious. And I was always so jealous of the Shy Guy Gourmet for when he got to eat it. And he, like, orgasmed all over the castle. And I was just like, I want to eat that cake.
I think something that comes to mind is in like anime-esque games and like Tales games, like they usually just like draw the food, and then that just looks so good. Like,
any food in like an anime.
Yeah.
So even if it's like
great.
a stew or like a sandwich.
Unless you guys have watched Food Wars yet.
Oh no.
If not, you need to. But I could not watch that show without having like something to eat in front of me. It just couldn't happen.
Right? Because it always is so shiny and just delicious looking.
Okay, so last question. It's to you, Emily. Okay, so are you ready for the last quick time question event?
Yes.
Okay. What is the best haircut you have seen on a video game character?
Oh gosh. The best hair? Oh, there's so many.
I can choose. I can make you choose a gender if that helps.
I would have to say, oh gosh, Princess Peach.
Princess Peach.
She's got the 80s like curl going on. It's all big. Oh, and then in Super Mario Sunshine, she wears that cute ponytail, and it's just like, oh, Peach, you go, girl.
Is there any specific hair that comes to your head?
The first one that comes to mind would be Sephiroth.
Oh man,
Sephiroth's
glorious long hair. It's amazing.
The best hair.
Okay, so that was our quick time question event. We will do more of those in our next podcast. But for now, we'll go ahead and transition into news. So we're first thing we're going to do is we're just going to go around the table and we're going to ask what everyone has been playing recently. So Ruben, why don't we go ahead and start with you?
Let's see. Well, I've been playing a lot of Splatoon. I play a lot of Splatoon. They've just announced a couple more maps. I don't know if they've added them yet. They might have added them, like, in the past couple of days. I haven't had a chance to play. Wind Waker. I've been playing the HD remake of that. I played that one already a lot as a kid, so I 100%ed of it when I was, like, 12 or something. And so now I'm just going back to replay it for, like, nostalgia's sake. Nothing but improvements on the HD remake. Sometimes they throw in, like, stuff that you're like, I could have done without this. You should have just left it the same, but like they've only improved it in the HD remake.
That's good to hear. That was really good. Okay, so Emily, what's games you've been playing recently?
Recently I purchased Diablo 3 for the PS4, and it's funny because I wasn't sure, but as soon as I started leveling up, I'm playing a male crusader. As soon as I got the first, like, really cool looking shield and, like, chest armor, I was like, I'm hooked. So, leveling up in that game is so rewarding because you get, like, really good looking things and then you can always make it look better, too. And it's really nice. And, of course, always getting sucked back into the black hole of sadness that is League of Legends. And I stand by the idea that that game is not a game, but a disease. So, I'll be probably playing that later.
What sucks you into League so much?
I don't know.
Is it the fact that you've sunk money into it, and now if you step away from it, you're like, well, dang.
Actually, no. That doesn't, no. I think it's because it's like a really easy way, if you like have a friend who you work with, and that they're pretty cool, but you don't really want to hang out with them, then it just be like, hey, you want to play League? You know? It's just like an easy way to hang out with someone, but then as soon as you start playing, you regret it, because you remember, oh yeah, this game is hell, and it makes me feel like I'm in hell. and I'd rather die. So it's very unfortunate, but
for me, what draws you into League of Legends is that the game. I mean, for any game to be addicting, it has to be easy to learn but hard to master. And the thing that like draws me back into it is that I constantly have this desire to be technically better than somebody else, and I just want to pick somebody and just style all over someone and just destroy and just go like legendary god. That's like what you want to hear every game, is like the announcer saying legendary, and that's really like a hope that you have, and it never really happens, but it's like gambling, of right? Course, it happens once like in every 20 turns at the slot machine that you win, but every time that you lose, you're like, maybe I can win the next one, and then that's just how it goes.
Because 2 days ago, I ended up going, I think it was like 14-0-5 as Misfortune, and of course the enemy Tristana is like, oh, good luck playing this broken champion after they fix her. Then you'll be sorry. I don't even know what that means. Honestly, they were just mad. But then, of course, I go to play Misfortune again the next day, and I go 1-7, and I want to cry. And it's just, I don't know. It's terrible. It's a drug. It's a disease.
I'm thankful my computer can't run it right now. Otherwise, I'd probably be playing it.
You're lucky.
But
yes.
I've definitely fallen off of it, and I probably won't pick it back up. Unless, friends are like, hey, come play.
Yeah.
And I might. But I think I'm cured of the disease. I don't have the itch anymore.
You're very
the
lucky.
Desire to go play League anymore.
But I think Diablo fills in the gaping, grinding hole that I missing from playing Pokemon. Because it's not like Pokemon where you run into one enemy, you run into a bunch of enemies, and you can just kill all of them and in a really satisfying way and get all the XP, and it's just really nice. So I think I'll be playing that a lot.
Have you played any of the other classes at all?
No, I've seen what was it?
I'm playing the Demon Hunter.
The Demon Hunter. And I find that, because we're playing together, so the Demon Hunter and Crusader actually makes a really nice duo, because I go in and I can taunt all of them and draw all the aggro, and then he can just be in the back machine gunning them all to death, and it's really fun.
Is Diablo 3 the one that has the Witch Doctor in it?
Yes it is.
Yes.
That's what I would play if I had the game.
Yeah.
Because the Witch Doctor, I've heard it's not that great, but all his abilities are super weird and stupid. I know he has one where he stacks 3 or 4 zombies on top of each other.
Yeah.
And then they just fall over and do
sense.
dash damage.
I completely believe that, because as a Crusader, one of my abilities is I mount a horse. It just comes out of nowhere, and I just run around really fast. And I actually got a power-up for it where now it does damage, because before, I don't know what it was for, just to move around. And now it knocks people over and does damage to them. So I'm just yeah, and then I just start riding a horse around, and it's hilarious.
It's pretty good.
I've heard that game's really good for couch co-op.
Oh yeah,
yes.
that's definitely one of the reasons we got it, and I think it would be even better. It's just 2-player, but I think it'd be even better if we had more people, and that's always a sign of a good game, where you know man, this would be better if we just had more people.
Yeah.
I would disagree with you. Because Borderlands is a game like that.
Yeah.
Where you're if this had more people, it would be good. But that's because playing alone is boring and
it's
dull.
terrible.
Yeah, it is pretty terrible.
I always feel bad for people who say, oh, I didn't like Borderlands, but that's because I played it by myself. I'm just no! Let me play with you. Let someone else play with you, please. It's so fun, but if you're by yourself, it's so awful.
I don't know. I feel like the game itself is... I've played it with other people, and it was fun. But I think if somebody was hey, let's play a video game, and there were 2 of us, I'd be let's not play Borderlands. Let's play a different 2-player game that's even better than Borderlands.
Yeah.
I think, I like Borderlands, but I think it's more of a grind commitment. You would have to you have to know that it's not a party game. You know?
Yeah.
And you're gonna have to sit there and just grind a lot for a while, and it depends on who you're with, but
and
I
you
find
can't
it
really
kind of
mess
fun.
around in it either.
Yeah, exactly.
You kind of go from quest to quest. There's not really a lot of messing around unless you get a vehicle, and then you just run over things.
Yeah. I don't know. I wasn't too impressed by Borderlands. There's a few like games that everybody's like, oh, they're so great if you play it with another person.
Uh-huh.
And I'm just kind of like, eh. But doesn't that mean it's kind of just a crappy game?
That's true. Yeah.
Like, if you and your friend have to sit down and, like, play together and make up stuff for it to be fun, it's kind of just not a good game. To me, anyways.
So,
Like, a game has to be fun. Like, I have to be able to sit down and play it for a long time for me to be like, okay, yeah, that's a good game.
So, I think what you're saying is that, like, first it has to be a good single-player game, and then after that it can be a good multiplayer game.
Unless it's built entirely around multiplayer.
Right, like
there's no single player at all.
Right.
In which case, then like one of the games that I've been really looking into playing with my girlfriend is Lovers in a Dangerous Space-Time. I don't know if you guys have heard of that one.
No, go ahead and explain to us.
That's one where you're two little fat little alien people inside of a big round ship.
Yeah.
And the ship has different rooms where you control, like, this one's for steering, and this one's the shield that you can move around the circle of the ship. Or this one's the gun that shoots blasters everywhere, things like that. And you as two people have to, like, maneuver around space and not die.
Oh.
So one person has to be, like, steering, and the other person shooting, but then suddenly somebody has to stop doing what they're doing to go use the shield, and then that person has to go and steer, and it's just, like, a big mess. And that's cool. Like, that's a game built around having two people playing it and, like, building a story around it and stuff like that. Whereas Borderlands, I feel like it's just a bad FPS game. Just a boring, empty... Like, it's so big, but it's so empty most of the time.
Uh-huh.
I think the biggest draw is definitely the guns part.
Yeah.
And that's... It's for people who like the loot idea.
Yeah, that's true. I'm just like... There were so many guns that I was carrying around that I just wanted to throw them all away.
Yeah.
But I was like, oh, but I kind of need to sell them for ammo and stuff like that. I was just like, I can live without it.
So, a game that I recently picked up, I know I'm a little bit late, but it is Bloodborne. I recently rented it for a while, and I'm pretty sure I'm going to be playing a lot more of it. It's a great time. It's been a long time since I've picked up a game and didn't understand a lot like right away. So you then have to take a second and realize you have to learn an entirely new game. Just like that's it. You just have to take time to learn this, and it's not like any other ones besides like Dark Souls, of course, but I'm late to that as well, and Bloodborne would be my first FromSoft game, so I'm really starting from nowhere at this point, except seeing some YouTube videos, and it's because of that I've gotten this feeling that like everything is new, and it makes it really fun, and I've never had as much fun in a video game like for a while because everything was just so new. And it was just really cool. And also, like, it's such a technical game that you have to learn all the strategies and, like, methods and, like, how all the weapons work. And it's just really cool that you have to know so much for a game.
Yeah, because a lot of games that have come out recently are kind of... I feel like they're geared more towards people who are just starting out in video games. So everything's kind of watered down. It's very, like, hand-holdy. So... It's just nice when you actually play a game that really rewards you if you're more skillful.
Right. For the prime example here is that for some reason, like almost every game that you play now has a tutorial where they teach you how to walk. Like that wasn't obvious. Like for just like probably everybody that's even like seen a video game, they know the control sticks do walking. And in Bloodborne. They don't even tell you how to attack. They don't even tell you like how to do the charged attack or how to roll or what any of the stats do. They don't tell you anything. You just are there, and then you have to figure it out or die. And it's a lot different from games telling you to use the right control stick to look at it like an object so that you know how to use your like head.
Yeah.
And
Sunny Smiles doesn't pop up and say, "Hey, shoot these cans in the back of our house."
But, yeah.
It's just like, no. There's a werewolf. Yeah. And he's going to eat you.
Mm-hmm. Figure it out.
Figure it out.
Yeah. No, did you have anything to say?
Yeah, you were saying that the whole game is like new and everything,
Yeah.
and I think that's a really good thing that's going on right now. Is a lot of new IPs are coming out.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like up until just recently, almost everything that was coming out was a sequel, unless it was an indie game.
Definitely,
it was like Halo 5, Gears of War 3.
Yeah.
I mean, like you have to look at Call of Duty and Assassin's Creed.
Oh, yes.
The ones that
Assassin's
are like
Creed.
It's funny because I haven't even paid attention to them.
Mm-hmm.
Though I've heard the newest Call of Duty is actually pretty
decent.
good.
Yeah.
I heard I heard the multiplayer is decent.
Yeah.
I hear the past few games have been like they've been decent. Up maybe just the last two, like Advanced Warfare and Black Ops 3. I think is the one that's out right now.
Yeah.
Yes.
I hear the multiplayer is very solid.
I want to rent them and try them, but I don't have like a next gen. I have the Wii U. I don't have anything other than that to play it on, so I wouldn't play it on the Wii U if it even is out for the Wii U.
Yeah,
that'd be really funny.
Yeah, I know. One of the Black Ops, or maybe it was Ghosts, or one of them came out for Wii U, and at the time I was working at Toys R Us, and they did not sell.
Oh no!
They ended up getting knocked down to like 99 cents or something stupid like that, and they still didn't sell.
Oh.
Until eventually one guy came and bought them all so he could take them into GameStop and sell them.
He would make a profit from that?
Yeah, because they'd probably give him like $2 or something.
Yeah.
And so he'd still be making a profit off our 99-cent games.
Wow.
Huh.
He was smart.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I didn't think about doing it.
See, I think... yeah, like the problem is whenever they make sequels, sometimes they're even in the same engine, so they even look the same.
Yeah.
But to make it refreshing, it's mostly sometimes it's mostly just a multiplayer update, being Call of Duty, in like the different weapons and like new maps and stuff, and. Sure, they throw in new mechanics every time. In Assassin's Creed, you always get like different mechanics, like the hook blade. That was like a big one for like a new mechanic, and they just kept kind of going with that. But I think really you have to kind of redefine a game before you can really like want it to be a sequel. You know, even like if you're following a story, you would have to make sure that people know it's not a new game, as in like the Assassin's Creed like Brotherhood and like weird like I don't know.
Yeah.
There was like a couple of ones like you gotta have to let them know it's not completely new. But I think Call of Duty has just been throwing in some gimmicky things sometimes, just with like, well, let's just like take modern warfare and make it more modern, and then they started throwing in robots and jetpacks and stuff like that. And I think they should really take time to redefine the series rather than just add on.
Of course, an example of that not working for everyone would be Fallout 4, where they definitely moved away from the RPG aspect of Fallout 3, where, you know, you were your own character and you got to make your own decisions and you got to be a very, very unique person in your own universe, to Fallout 4, where it's like Minecraft with shooting, and
where you're Sean's dad.
Yeah, you don't get to pick your voice or the gender of your baby or the name of your baby, and or the name of your wife, you know, or anything, or make it personal at all. It's just you're a soldier. This is your house. You love your family. Now go and be, you know, and do this, and you don't get to be evil. You don't get to join any factions that are evil. Even though I feel like the Brotherhood of Steel is pretty evil. But it was just not an RPG in the way that we loved Fallout 3 for its RPG aspect. So I can see how completely remaking something in a sequel can not go well. And I can see how they're trying to just recreate the success of Assassin's Creed and Call of Duty over and over and over, because people will buy it and they will play it.
Well, yeah, it's working because like they keep
if
they have enough money to make Call of Duty 27 or whatever they're on, like people are buying them. So I guess do what works, companies.
Yeah, you mean, make your money.
We can look at a series that's been doing this for a while, but also a bit redefining every time would be Final Fantasy. You know, starting from 1 to, what is it, like 14, 15?
They're at 14
including
right
some of
now.
the MMOs, you know.
14.
Well, 14
2.
is the MMO right now,
Okay.
and then I think 15 is
Oh yeah, 15 is the one
announced.
that's coming out. Yeah, it looks
I
really
don't
good,
know.
by the way. It's a very pretty game. But yeah, I mean, if we look at that, they're really successful. They keep coming out with them, so they're doing something right, and they're redefining it a little bit every time. So
Well,
I think they're doing something.
I think the success
interesting.
of the Final Fantasy games comes in the storylines and the
Mhm.
characters, whereas Call of Duty, I'm not sure how that keeps happening.
Yeah, yeah. For story wise, Call of Duty.
Yeah.
No one plays it for the story. Let's
Yeah.
get one thing straight. No one's like, "Ooh, I can't wait to see what happens in this one's campaign."
Well, to be honest, in the new one, I've heard the campaign, you beat it once, in the new game plus, everybody is a zombie.
Oh, I've heard that
Mm-hmm.
too.
And apparently it changes up like the story a ton and everything like that. I would play that campaign. I want to know like how they turned everybody into a zombie and what that does.
Yeah.
Like, I'm imagining like the classic, like FPS game storylines where you're like following your sergeant major.
Yeah, talking
Into
to
battle
him.
and yeah.
He's giving you like a really like good speech about, you have to go in here
Yeah.
and make your like dad proud or whatever. It's like, no, he's a
Yeah.
zombie.
Yeah.
Yeah, everybody else is a zombie. Yeah, go from there. I don't
Right.
know what that is,
That is really good incentive to
Yeah.
play the campaign.
so I would definitely play get through the campaign the first game or the first time, and then play it a second time just to see what the zombie stuff's about.
'Cause it-
And I've heard the zombie mode like is not just a horde mode anymore. Like there's a story to it,
Oh.
and it's a lot more in this one like a puzzle game.
Oh. I've heard it just gets ridiculous now. Like, it's
Yeah.
not, you can't even call it like just zombies because they have like ghosts and crazy monsters. And it's just like, I don't even know if you can call it zombies anymore. But, if you keep it the same, people are just going to be like, oh, it's just another zombie.
Like we've been doing
Yeah.
for the past while now.
Yeah.
So,
Couple.
like I said, I want to try it out. You guys have a PS4. Maybe I'll rent it and bring it to your guys' place.
Sure. Yeah. No problem. Come over. Yeah.
We'll have a Call of Duty party.
Um.
Eat our words.
Okay, so I can talk about a little bit of the gaming news. There's not much going on. It's the end of the year, so everyone's doing their
Wait,
top
did we talk
video
about what
game
you're
wrap-ups.
playing?
Yes, Bloodborne.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. I was like,
So yeah, and all the gaming news and websites and articles are just basically top this of 2015.
Worst this.
Worst this of 2015. Just lists of 2015.
finally, 9 female protagonists of 2015.
We did it.
Yeah.
That's 9 more
Than ever before.
Yeah, exactly.
Of course, Lara Croft is just always up there.
Yeah.
She's just like, hey, I'm here.
I heard people were not happy with Lara Croft this time.
Oh no.
Why not?
She needs to be more pixelated.
Her boobs weren't pointy enough.
Yes.
No, I heard they made her a lot more emotional
Oh.
and everything. And everybody was like, oh, see, they're just girling her up.
Oh no.
But I think what they were going for is like, this character's like, in the last game, she killed a lot of people, and now she's killing more people, and she's going through that.
Yeah.
And so, of course, she's going to be emotional about it, because she's murdering people.
Like
and,
a normal human.
Yeah. But everybody's like, oh, look at that girl
Oh, of
with her
course.
emotions.
Because if they made like a like an Uncharted game where he was just a little more broody the whole time, they wouldn't be like, he's being such a guy, being out of emotions.
I think it's because I think these games are like prequels to
Yeah,
like
that's
how
what I
Lara
heard.
Croft
Yeah.
becomes like the badass female she
Oh.
is later.
So maybe they'll have
And so
a moment
that's
where
what-
she snaps and
Yeah,
becomes
that's where
emotionless.
I think that's
Yeah.
what they're working towards.
Mm-hmm.
But they have to actually work towards it. They can't just be like,
They
and then
can't
she
just like-
snapped,
yeah, exactly,
and
yeah.
now she's badass all the
It's
time.
bad
Yeah.
storytelling.
But I guess people are not happy with it because people just want Lara Croft to be Lady Indiana Jones with guns.
Yes.
So yeah, so our biggest news here that we have is what happened to Steam around Christmas time. And if you didn't know, the problem was that when you were going to purchase something from Steam, it would show. Actually, I don't even know if it was purchasing all the time that showed it. It just happened. I think I'm not too sure, but the problem was that it would show information from different users' accounts onto your screen, and sometimes it'd be in different languages and regions. But you'd be looking through Steam, you're going to purchase an item, and all of a sudden there's this person from France. You see their name, their credit card number, and their address and stuff. And that was just that's a problem. That's kind of a problem. And so they found out the reason behind the problem. And it seems to be from a caching issue, so an eternal problem. It's not a hacking problem at all. So it wasn't external. No one's doing this to Steam. It just happened to be a mistake.
They did it to themselves.
Basically, yeah. Well, I mean, this is what they claim, So for the most part, that's what people who... Steam was pretty silent about this the whole time. They released one statement, and long hours before that, people of the community found out it was a caching issue. So the people knew before Valve knew, and then Valve even took Steam down, and then they came out and was like, oh, it's a caching issue, don't worry, we got it fixed. There were some rumors that the Valve servers were going to be DDoSed, but most of those rumors were from unreliable sources. And overall it was they claimed it wasn't a hacking job or anything. And the resolution here is that Steam is currently up and running like normal, and they said despite the incident, nobody should have suffered from the information that got leaked.
How could they know that? How could they know that nobody would suffer from that? Like, if somebody else has my credit card number,
Yeah.
they could be using my credit card.
Yeah.
I wonder if anyone tried to purchase it with that information and it went through.
That could be a possibility, but you should probably contact them if that did happen.
Maybe we should just trust that everybody on the internet is just a nice guy.
Yeah.
Who, when they
Exactly.
see somebody else's credit card number, they look away.
Of course, they are very trustworthy, every
Yes.
single one of them.
Every single time. Send me your social security number. I promise I won't even look at it.
No.
I just
to prove
want
my
to know
point.
that.
Yeah,
that,
I just want you to know that you can trust me
exactly.
with it.
So now we can talk about games we're looking forward to. Ruben, do you want to start
Wait,
with?
wasn't there other news?
Yes.
Oh yes,
Yes.
there was.
As of today, a very exciting article was published revealing more details on the highly anticipated Pokemon Go. Now, Pokemon Go has become a meme slightly that has become my favorite meme. And that is things like, at my own wedding, my Pokemon Go Plus alerts me that there's a Mewtwo nearby. Everyone has to go and get the Mewtwo. Screw my own wedding. This is the funniest meme ever. And it's been revealed that the game is going to be coming out sometime next year, which means, only in a few days. There was a rumor that it was going to be February 27th, but it's undergoing closed beta testing over this winter, so that date seems a little too close, a little too rushed. I mean, we really want this to be a good app. It's not like
I feel like they wouldn't release it then, because I think the Pokken tournament, the Pokemon fighting game for the Wii U, is coming out in February.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think they would release them at the same time.
No.
Who
No,
knows,
that makes
because
sense.
Nintendo might do something crazy.
Yeah.
But
It might be next year, it might be 2 years from now. We're not sure. But it's most likely going to be next year, maybe late next year. So some details about it that have gotten me really excited include the fact that it really seems like you're just going to be a Pokemon trainer in real life, like what we've always dreamed. They said that they want you to be able to leave your house and within 5 minutes encounter a Pokemon. So they want it to be a very lush ecosystem of Pokemon. And something that is making me really excited is that they are going to distribute the type of Pokemon based on where you are. So here by the Great Lakes, if we were to go to Lake Michigan, there would be water type Pokemon there. And
that'd be cool.
beach Pokemon on the beach.
Would be really cool.
And then if we were
where would you get fire Pokemon from?
See, I was thinking that maybe if you lived in Hawaii,
You have to go to
You have
a
to go to a
you'd have to go to a
volcano. Yeah.
volcano.
I feel like that would be irresponsible on Nintendo's part.
But it's just so exciting because then if you lived in an arid place like Arizona, you'd get a lot of ground type, you'd get a sand shrew where we couldn't find one, and then it would create almost areas where if Pokemon was in real life, we would be water type trainers because we would have the lakes at our disposal, and then these people would be fire type trainers if they lived near a volcano. And it's making me so excited. And I read that the main focus of the game is to get you to explore your city, explore your state, just get out and go places that you normally would just drive by or not even get out of your car and explore. And it's funny because I was like, well, this is an app. You're going to be looking at your phone, in a park, not really paying attention. And that's when they came with the idea of the Pokemon Go Plus, which is that little Pokeball beacon thing. So you'd have your phone away, but you'd have the app on, and then it would alert you that a Pokemon is nearby, and you could like press a button on it to catch it, so that you could enjoy your surroundings, catch the Pokemon, but like keep your phone out of, your hand. And then you'd go home, open the app, and see all the Pokemon that you caught that day.
Have they announced anything for the battle system of this? Like, are you just gonna be able to like battle?
I think the
Pokemon.
Pokemon Go Plus will alert you when someone wants to battle you also. And I did read some things about they want there to be gyms, and they want the gyms to be important in the same way that they're important in the game, where you had to fight the gym leader to move on and get higher level Pokemon. So I think it'll be like level caps between each gym leader. But it seemed kind of vague, so I don't think they've gotten all the details worked out about gyms, because there can't just be one person who gets to be the gym leader.
Right.
And like they can't. I feel like for that to work, you would have to have 8 gym leaders at least within like drivable range.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because they don't. I mean, I'm not gonna spend my money on a plane ticket to go to Hawaii to fight a fire type gym leader.
Yeah.
Well, it would be like its own game though, because like you have the Midwest region, and that'd have like there'd be like Kanto, and then you would move, and then you'd beat everybody there. But another thing I did see was that you could do group battles, and you could do 3-on-3s, and then it would work like how it does in the video games.
And I still want to know if you can battle wild Pokemon to like grind your Pokemon up to higher levels.
Good question.
Yeah.
Because,
I would hope so.
Yeah.
Because then you'll just end up catching a bunch of low-level Pokemon and then not being able to, like, grind up your favorite one.
Yeah, you'd have to go and catch, like, the same Pokemon, but of a higher level.
Yeah.
That's
Unless you,
lame.
like, train it up in battles, but, like, you'd have to find a lot of people to battle.
Yeah.
And I remember thinking the other day, I had my 3DS in my pocket at the mall. I was like, I wish this town or something had, like, a bigger Pokemon battle scene. I'd love to just challenge random people to battles.
Yeah.
Because all my Pokemon are really high level, and I'm just like, I want to crush this person.
Right. Yeah, you see, I remember one of the memes, too, was like, like a kid is like, how did you and Mom meet each other? Like, oh, see, son, we were both in a park one day, and my Pokemon Go Plus went off. And it was love at first battle. So I'm really excited. I trust them to make it wonderful. But I'm also scared that when it comes out, I'm not going to want to do anything but just wander around, and I'm going to become a hobo. I'm just going to become a bum, asking for Pokemon battles.
Do you think people would set up a system where if you win the battle, they pay you money?
Maybe.
Just like in the game.
Right.
That would be awesome.
Of course,
You beat up little kids, and they're just like, here's my lunch money for the day.
Exactly. It would have to be a really small amount of money, though, because like in the games, I think it's based on yen, so you get like $300 per person, but it's only like $3. I'm not going to give I'm going to give you like 10 cents.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it should be based on like cents.
Whatever
system.
loose change I have.
Exactly.
Maybe.
All right, here you go.
I'll buy you a pickle. I don't know.
I'll buy you.
Different trainers have different amounts of money they give you, so everyone would just be a cheapskate.
Then
no one would be Pokefan and give out like 10,000.
It'd become like Tinder, where it'd be like, how much money are you willing to give me?
Yeah, exactly.
For this Pokemon battle.
Exactly.
It's like I have nothing. Like, okay, I'll go fight someone else.
Well, you'd be gambling because it'd be like, how much are you giving away? I'm giving away this much. If you win, you get this much. But if you lose, you have to pay me this much.
Yeah.
Maybe there will be some kind of in-game currency where you can use to buy skins for your Pokemon. I think that'd be really cool.
I know in one of the screenshots, League of Legends talk. I know in one of the screenshots it showed the guy like flicking through items. So I hope there's money, because then you could buy a potion.
Oh yeah, a potion.
Yeah.
And I mean by skins I mean like clothes and like hats
Oh,
and stuff. That's what it is.
Accessories.
I mean,
so
useless, but that's something you would want money for.
Right.
I just imagine like some gigantic Pokemon wearing a tiny little hat.
Oh,
yeah,
little monocle.
Or like a little tiny Pokemon wearing a really big hat.
Or like
That'd
a
be
Pikachu
great.
with a little backpack, and he's just like, hey.
Well, Pikachu I could see it for, because Pikachu already has like so much merchandise where he's just dressed up all the time.
Right.
And also, I saw another thing is that, you know how we're kind of like a little region locked. So what Pokemon types we get? I saw they said, don't worry. We're gonna have a trading system set up, so you can definitely get the types that you don't have around.
So we
your
don't
area.
just have to have grass and water.
Exactly.
Yeah, because that's all we would have around here. I guess whatever type live in the city,
Oh yeah, there
Yeah.
might be like steel type.
which is what I would want. Because my favorite types are steel and rock,
Yeah.
Yeah,
and I don't live on a mountain.
yeah.
So I'm
it's
kind of
unfortunate.
bummed.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Water types are probably some of my least favorite types.
They're pretty weak.
Yeah.
They're like the cutest ones. I don't know. Except
As far as the weakest Pokemon go, grass type is the weakest type.
grass is
Yeah,
probably
grass,
the
yeah.
lamest. Yes.
Also, where would fairy and dragon types live?
I read
So,
that they are limiting it to just the original 150, so just the original 15 types.
Mhm.
So they're not going to have fairy.
They're gonna have fairy,
dark or
dark,
steel.
steel,
Dark or
steel.
ice.
Mhm.
I think they said they were going to have ice, which didn't make sense to me because ice wasn't one of the originals.
Yeah. Maybe because I know a lot of Pokemon change type
That's
Yeah.
true. Yeah,
as the generations went on, so maybe they'll retain their new types.
Yeah.
Because I know there's a lot of Pokemon who became fairy type when they announced fairy type,
Yeah.
Mhm.
so maybe they'll still be fairies.
You're
But
just
I'm
going to
like-
run into a lot of people with like all the evolutions, and you're just going to be like,
There'll be
Well, there'll be only
interesting,
the
though.
3 if they're doing the 150.
yeah.
But that also means there's only 3 ghost type and 3 psychic type.
Yes.
That's true. Yeah.
Abra and all his, and then
Then,
Ghastly.
Oh yeah, where would
Yes.
they hang out? Like graveyards?
Like graveyards.
Graveyards.
Where
Ooh.
would the Abra hang out? They just randomly pop up. You're like, yo, this is
Just
great, and then they
teleporting.
teleport away. You're like,
Yeah.
no, every time.
Or it works every time, and then you just have like 50 Abra. that
Yeah,
you wanna get
exactly.
rid of.
It's like, oh, I just can't get rid of all these Abras.
Yeah, do you think if you
what do
release a Pokemon, like somebody else standing next to you can catch it?
Maybe.
They just have to catch it really quick. They're like, yeah.
Oh no,
yeah.
if it's like a legendary Pokemon and they're just like, I gotta get it. No, someone else got it. And someone walking by is like, ooh.
Oh, what's this? Oh yeah, where do you think you'll find like poison? It's like swamps? Is maybe? I don't know.
Maybe.
What is?
I mean, I feel like because some Pokemon don't live in like a set region, like poison types are mostly bug and like
So probably
snakes
in
and things like that.
forests,
So
too.
probably forests.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think it depends more on the Pokemon itself than like the type,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
I don't think too many fire types actually live in volcanoes.
Right.
Yeah, I think Rapidash was just around in the fields.
Yeah, it just runs around the
Yeah.
fields and
So,
then catches things on
that'd be
fire
cool to get one.
sometimes.
But you probably wouldn't find like a
Magmar.
Magmar.
Yeah,
that was
yeah.
his name. I was like, is it Slugma? No.
No.
That was
No,
Slugma.
that's yeah.
But yeah, Magmar and Electabuzz. I don't know where you'd find them.
Electabuzz you always found in the power plants.
Right? We'd have to
Yeah.
find like
We'd
an
have to
abandoned
go
power
to,
plant.
Go to a power plant.
It's like, hey, is there any we like knock on the door? Hey, do you have any Electabuzz in
We
there?
have our Pokemon hats and like
Yeah.
our trainer vests and our gloves.
Everyone, yeah.
All the fingerless gloves.
Yeah, fingerless
Yes.
gloves.
Fingerless glove profits skyrocket.
Yeah,
Yes.
we have to go around as a gang, and then like once we see other people with fingerless gloves, we point them out, and we start like a gang war,
Right.
but with Pokemon.
That'd be so scary if you are used to like 3v3 battles and then you're by yourself and someone goes to battle you and you're like, no, I just have a Pokemon that knows helping hands. No.
Or baton pass.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, now I guess we can go into a little bit of the games we're looking forward to. Ruben, do you want to go ahead and start off with that?
Sure, I've got a few games. Are we talking like soon, or are we talking just in next year?
In the future, is there something? I mean, like since this is the big 2016 like start of the year, you can be any game, you know, just anything. That's coming
Hyper
out.
Light Drifter is probably my most anticipated game of 2016. It's supposed to come out in spring, but basically it's I want to say it's an open world. I don't know too much of like the world and the story, but it's like I think it's an open world. They said they were going for like more of like a classic Zelda feel, where you run
Okay.
around getting new like weapons and power ups and
Okay.
like
Oh.
exploring the world and things like that,
Pleasant.
solving puzzles.
Yeah.
And it started off as a Kickstarter fund back when Kickstarter was still a reliable thing that
Oh,
people
gosh.
didn't absolutely
Yeah.
distrust.
Yeah.
But it started off as a Kickstarter campaign. They didn't want that much money. I gave them just enough so that I could get the game when it comes out. But I guess they made so much money that like they were like, yeah, we're gonna delay the release date. We have so much money, we can do way more than we thought we could. And they
Let's see.
delayed it like so long because they they just surpassed their goal by so much that they just added in
That's
a
great.
ton.
That's great.
And I'm super excited. I'm just like, yeah, delay however long you need. As long as the game comes out, it works, it plays good, and it has all the stuff you originally promised, I will be happy.
See, I think this is a problem with big, like, I mean, if we have to give the name AAA publishers, is that when they're working with a separate publishing company, they have an exact date they want the game made by. And, I mean, like, we can, like, go back to, like, Assassin's Creed, Call of Duty, and, you know,
Sonic.
other games as well.
Sonic.
Batman.
Just the game, you know, because of this exact date, you can't fully promise all the time that your game is going to be polished. You know, that's always, like... people sometimes people get mad that there's a delayed date on a game, and they're like, oh, you know, I just want to play this game. But then, like, some people don't realize that, you know, you don't want to play that game. You want to play the game that's coming out in 3 months. Just wait 3 months.
One,
you know,
the one that won't break.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that's a big problem that's going on right now, and that goes to towards why a lot of people are doing the don't pre-order games things right now. It's just because of how unpolished a lot of games have been coming out, just how buggy it is, and it's all in the sake of making that due date and making, you know, the publishing company happy, and that is kind of a shame.
It's just a big problem. I feel like, I don't even know. Sonic is just the one that keeps coming to mind. Because all the worst Sonic games are the ones that they pushed for his, like, anniversaries.
Oh,
so
okay,
it had to come out on a specific date,
Mm-hmm.
and there just wasn't enough time for it. And that's why those games, specifically, like, Sonic 09 is probably the best example. I don't remember what anniversary that was, like his 10th or 25th or something stupid. And they had to get it out on that day, and that game is trash. The game is a pile of trash.
Literal.
It was so
Trash.
bad from level 1 that I was like, I'm gonna beat this game. And I did, and the whole thing is hot garbage. I almost didn't beat it, but my roommate at the time was watching me play it, and he was like, you're on the last mission. You have to beat this game. But the last mission, like, I don't think they expected anybody to play it for so long.
Oh, no.
And the last mission is just, like, almost unplayable.
Is
Like-
it, like, tell us more about why it's unplayable.
What it is you're playing as, like, 6 different characters. Each have their own level.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
And there's checkpoints in there, so, like, when you beat a level as a character, like, you move on to the next one, and then if you die as that character, you still stay as that character. But if you get a game over, you have to start all the way back with the very first character.
Oh my god.
Oh.
So you have to get through a string of, like, 6 levels of, like, 6 different characters on, like, 3 lives if you got game over, because then you restart with, like, 3 lives.
Wow.
And some of the characters control so impossibly bad that, like, you're almost guaranteed to die, like, just a million times. And you just gotta get, like, that one, like, chance run.
Yeah,
You just
exactly.
beat it.
Yeah, that's
Because-
always bad when it's more by luck than
Yeah.
by
Yeah,
skill. Because then
exactly.
it's just like, I don't even know if this is a game anymore. I'm just
Yeah.
gambling.
Exactly.
Right. It's because a lot of the characters they wanted to do something, like, different or interesting with, but, like, obviously some characters got more polish and some got less. And so the ones with less are the ones where they try to do some of the more interesting stuff. And a lot of times that stuff, like, it just doesn't work. It glitches out.
Oh no.
Things, like, don't happen the way they're supposed to happen, and then you just can't progress.
Oh.
And so you're just like, So it'd be fine if it was like, oh, you gotta do these 6 levels as Sonic, because Sonic, like, got the most polish. His levels are, I don't want to say they're good, they're the least
Least
terrible.
bad.
Yeah.
Least garbage.
Yeah. But you don't even need to play as him. You play as, like, this stupid bat character and all this nonsense. And it's just like, why? Why does this need to happen? And I beat it and felt completely unsatisfied for beating it.
Well, at least you have that real life achievement of being able to tell us truly how bad this game is because you went through all the trouble.
Oh my gosh. And all the weird, like, hedgehog human romance that happens.
Oh no.
It's bad. It's
Sonic,
so
no.
bad.
Were there any other games besides Pokemon Go that you were looking forward to coming out in 2016?
Well, I was excited for Gears 4, partly just because it's called Gears 4. Because I noticed after Gears 1, people just started calling it Gears, because Gears of War is kind of hard to say. So the fact that they latched onto that and just called it Gears 4 and not put a 4 instead of an A in the word Gears or War was very, very pleasing. But then I heard that it was actually not going to be made by Epic. It's going to be made by... because Epic was done making Gears games. So basically Microsoft made their own little branch just to pump more money out of the Gears franchise. So it's going to have the same feel as when they did that with when they were done with Bungie with Halo games. So I might end up playing it eventually, but I'm not going to get an Xbox One just to play Gears 4. So it's kind of sad.
Do you know if any of the... Because I know with the Halo thing, when they split from Bungie to 343, a lot of the developers went over to 343. Mm-hmm. Do you know if any of the developers from the old Gears team is coming over to the new developer?
I think so, but I don't know. I don't want to have it leave a bad taste in my mouth and just be put off, because they kind of ended it okayly in Gears 3. And it was funny because I actually just read an article today that called Gears of War an exciting shooter with a throwaway story, which very much insulted me, because in a game like Gears, there's not really much except story. I mean, obviously there's the killing everything and the puzzle solving, but then you're sitting through this 3-part saga with who didn't cry when Dom suicided into that gas station? Come on. Who didn't feel a little bit of just oh, So I don't think it was a throwaway story. I really liked Gears, but I don't want Gears 4 to ruin the franchise for me.
I'm not gonna lie, I played one of the games.
One of them?
I don't even remember which one.
It was probably the second one.
And the story didn't hook me at all.
No, I mean, yeah,
The only thing I got super into was a horde mode that they had on there.
Yeah.
Which was interesting. I played that a lot, especially because I had split screen, which is important to note these days.
Yes, especially since it's not standard anymore, which doesn't make a lot of sense.
Yeah. But yeah, and I don't remember anything about the story. I remember the characters only by the quick one-liners they would throw out as I was playing
those are the best.
them.
Except in Gears 3, they did get a little bad with Marcus's one-liners. I feel like they just kind of took a dump with Marcus's one-liners because they were pretty
kind of bad.
They were kind of bad, but everyone else's was better. So I almost think they did it on purpose to be look how much funnier Anya is,
I think Gears of War is really interesting because I know it was a really huge. The first one was really huge multiplayer game that rivaled Halo in its scene, and that was super big. And so the multiplayer is a huge aspect of Gears of War, and a lot of people really loved it for just fast-paced visceral while being strategic tactical cover. But also at the same time, there's a lot of because it's a new universe with a lot of new enemies and new gun types and just new places. It has a lot of story tied to it, so you can't call it Call of Duty, where it's a throwaway story most of the time, because this is all stuff you can kind of just imagine. Whereas in the Gears of War universe, you have to learn about. Mm-hmm. So I think that's a really interesting point there. For the games that I'm looking forward to, there's many that's coming out that seems interesting, but I'm unsure about. The top ones are going to be Overwatch for me, and that's basically it. But but I mean, other games that sound interesting are Battleborn, which is kind of like a MOBA first-person shooter
just
from 2K, just kind of like Overwatch, not exactly like Overwatch. Not exactly
like Overwatch.
But that'll be interesting. And then Mass Effect Andromeda, that'll be kind of interesting. These are the games I'm kind of about. And there's one that I saw a little bit from earlier, which seems I really like the idea, and it's called For Honor. Have you ever heard of it?
Yeah, you were telling me about that earlier.
Um,
So I've heard a little bit about
yeah.
it, but I don't know like too many of the details. I didn't look into it anymore.
It's so
I couldn't be
what the what the game is. It's a 4v4, and the idea is that there's knights, Vikings, and samurai all fighting each other, and
Oh,
you get
yeah,
to pick
yeah.
from one, and that's kind of interesting in its own way, but also kind of like cliche. These are like normal things.
Yeah.
But the really cool part is that its combat is when you get into fighting. There's a little triangle, and if you guys ever played like the Star Wars arcade game at like Chuck E. Cheese a long time ago, and you would have like lightsaber battles, and then you would have to like move the lightsaber where like the person was like about to hit you. That's like they took that premise and then like evolved it into a new one where there's like a triangle, and it's just up or left or right, and you have to read the other person's attacks and go along with like the positioning, like if they're attacking from up above, you you want to either block that or go in from a side that they're not expecting.
Shouldn't it be like a diamond? Because what if they come in from below?
It's a good question. I don't know why it's only a triangle. I feel like they could do more.
Would it be a square?
I think it's
It
just
could
for
be-
simplicity.
it could be an
I don't know.
octagon.
I feel like there should be more sides.
It
I
could
definitely
be a
do.
dodecahedron.
Yes.
Or
Yeah,
let's
definitely.
get crazy here, a circle.
Oh,
Just a sphere?
Just a
Just
sphere.
a sphere.
Yeah.
I think.
Just
I
a
think
sphere. So it has 3D elements too.
Yes,
Yeah, exactly.
sphere.
What
Yes.
if they come at you
Yes.
from like the side and you have to
Yeah.
block like to the side?
Exactly, or
Yeah.
like diagonally above.
Yes.
And yeah.
So
exactly.
then they
You
need to
drop down
move
from
it to the
above.
Oculus Rift.
Exactly, yeah. And then
And
it would
it
be
will-
terrible.
and then it will die.
Instantly will be
Then
terrible.
it will burn and die, and no one will play it.
Yeah.
I've heard a lot of other VR are coming out that's like way better than the Oculus Rift.
Oh no.
I don't know how I think just because the Oculus came out first.
Yeah.
Mhm. That has the big name.
Yeah, but
that everyone
the big
knows.
name.
Yeah.
Right.
But I think in doing so, they did that thing where like, sure, it came out real fast, but it's not
Yeah,
it's
not-
not
yeah.
great.
Right.
And then like other companies like, hey, we have money. This is a cool idea. Let's go ahead and do it. Now
Let's
like
just
Google
take
and
that
Microsoft
idea.
and Sony are totally doing it better.
Yeah. The
Yeah.
one where you snap your phone onto it.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Yeah.
Like we did a test run of that once, and apparently it's great.
Yeah. Is there any other games that we're looking forward to in 2016?
Pokemon Go.
Pokemon Go.
Yes.
That will be a good
We
one
will
to look
finally
out for.
be able to live our 10-year-old
Yes.
fantasies.
Yeah.
And
My
no one can stop us.
21-year-old fantasies.
Exactly.
Yes.
That I still have every day
Yes.
and cry about at night because
I cry myself to sleep
Yes,
with
because
I
my,
want to catch them all.
my Pokemon sheets, the Pokemon pillowcase.
catch them all. You can't happen. There's so many Pokemon hidden behind like event gates that you can't get.
Yeah.
Right?
Mew.
We're gonna move on to our ramble of the week. This is gonna be our discussion about topics that we think are worth discussing from each one of us, from each perspective, and just to break it down. And the ramble of the week here is: do you believe that fully narrative driven video games, many like Telltale Games and Her Story and Until Dawn, count as video games, or do you believe that it's more appropriate to name them something along the lines of a movie or a video?
I guess we're gonna start with me. I think it really depends, because a video game is first and foremost a game. It has to be something that you play and can like interact with the story and the elements and everything like that. And so I'll give it to games like Telltale Games or the Stanley Parable, even things where there are choices to make, different endings, different things you can do or interact with. I would definitely consider those games. I'll give it to them. But there are things like there's Dear Esther or things like that where you literally you walk around, you experience what they want you to experience, and then you move on. And I don't think that's a game. I think it's an interactive experience, but it's not a game that you can play. It's more something you just walk through and experience.
I feel like playing, like, there should be a definition of playing a video game, so I think it should be somewhere along the lines of where you feel like you've actually influenced and enriched the environment that you were put in to the point where you felt like you played it, you know? So I think that, like, Dear Esther is more of, like, an interactive art gallery, almost, where they just kind of walk you past the things that they created, and they kind of hold your hand, and they're like, look at this, and you're like, oh, look at this, oh, nice. But in, like, Telltale games, you can make decisions, like, even little decisions where they'll, like, remember it, or the people will be affected in certain ways to where when you get the ending, you're like, wow, I did something here. But then there are definitely some times where after you play a game, you feel like you did so much that you were just like, wow, that needs to be something different, like something like Shadow of the Colossus, where you put in so much effort and time compared to her story. You know, you come away from that feeling like, oh, that was interesting. So there's just, like, different feelings that different kinds of games give you that maybe they should just be categorized as something different.
I think here, well, I believe, like, the narrative-driven games, like the Telltale games and stuff like that, I feel like they're almost breaking through into a different genre, just like of, like, interactive, like, story, rather than a video game. Just because, if I get down to the core essence of, like, what feels like a video game to me, it would be, like, kind of, like, full control over the character, or, like, yeah, just control of the character. And in a lot of narrative games, you're following a specific, like, you're following a specific movie or a video, and you have certain interactions at certain points, at set points, and I feel like I would consider a game more where you just have control over, like, when the action is, rather than in that way, like, the, like, cutscenes kind of destroy my definition, but it's just more about, like, you get to be part of the action rather than going along and watching the action.
Yeah, you're less of a spectator and more of, like, an actual piece of the puzzle.
Mm-hmm. And see, I guess that's one way to look at it, but I still think, even if you don't have full control over the character, you're just controlling really, like, what they say, and that's what affects the game, is, like, I would still personally consider that a game where you have at least some sort of control and some sort of pull in the world of the game, where things that you do make a difference, whether there's multiple endings or not. Like, your experience is changed based on what you do. I would consider that a game. I don't need, like, to be in full control of the character all the time. Telltale games where you just pick clips of dialogue or, like, little choices here and there, I would still personally consider them games. Mm-hmm. Even the game like Stanley Parable, where literally all you do is walk around, maybe push a button or things like that. Like, I would consider that a game versus just, like, an interactive experience or any kind of, like, new genre like that. Yeah.
I guess, like, in my mind, they're kind of a separate genre, because it's kind of like playing a tabletop game, tabletop role playing game of like Dungeons and Dragons or like Pathfinder or something like that, versus reading a choose your own adventure book, where playing Dungeons and Dragons, almost any action that you can do within reason is done. You know, you can do that. Well, I mean, that's like I said, within reason. So most games actually have those kind of limitations that are obvious. Whereas in a Telltale game, it's more a choose your own adventure, where, you know, you flip to page 5 because you want to do this. And I like, there can be like kind of narrative driven games, but they also like give you control. And I think a good one is like for example is like Portal, where I mean the only thing there is basically just GLaDOS talking to you, and you're kind of walking through it and you're experiencing it there. Whereas like imagine if Portal now is a Telltale game, it's kind of different because like it just changes the genre. I feel where like you have to like choose.
That would definitely change the game and say something like Portal, because Portal is it's a puzzle game with the story behind it. Mm-hmm. It was definitely, when Portal was made, was definitely thought of as a puzzle game first, and then the story came after. But I would still consider it a game if they'd focused entirely on story and nothing else. Mm-hmm. Even like a choose your own adventure book, I would still sit down, read it, like flip through it, and consider that like playing a game almost.
So you consider a choose your own adventure book a game?
Yeah, why not?
It might as well be.
It's close. It's close. That's the thing though. That's why this is it's a good discussion. Is because it's really really close, mm-hmm. And it may, and sometimes it is. But then there's just the sometimes it's not, and then that's like really... Sometimes,
yeah. I think it's all in execution. So, like, if it's executed right, if there's, like, little to no gameplay in a game, you can still feel like you're playing a game and you're getting something out of it. But if it's executed poorly, you just feel like it's not worth your time or money.
So yeah, good point.
I think really what we're trying to decide is where you draw the line of what is a game and what isn't, mm-hmm. versus are these things games and not?
Yeah.
Because we've all definitely said there's definitely things that people call video games that are video games, and things that people call video games that are not.
Yeah.
Whereas I've heard a lot of people make the argument that just all of these things are video games.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Because they're not like movies or just music or books or anything like that. But I think there's definitely a line. I think most people would agree with that. I know there's mm-hmm. some people out there who would disagree with me. But I don't know. I still say, like, even some of these things that are at the loosest definition of a game are still games, mm-hmm. versus things that are interactive experiences, or even like I would still consider it a game, maybe a different genre of game, uh-huh. but I would still consider it a game at its core. And yeah, I guess maybe I just have like a looser definition of game than Jan does, apparently.
Yeah.
He's adamant about these.
Yes, he's very adamant about them not being video games.
Something that comes to my mind too when talking about this is talking about apps and how much certain apps are video games, quote unquote. Because then you can almost just call them games and not video games. Because then you get some of that data that says like, 50% of all gamers are women over the age of 35. It's like, no, those are ladies playing Candy Crush, And it's just like, sure, those are games, but I don't think I would ever consider it a video game. But then there comes like sort of this resonance with the term video game that makes you think of more like console or PC games that actually meant something to you than Candy Crush.
Yeah, I think what that boils down to is the definition of the word gamer.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Because I would definitely say Candy Crush is a video game. Mm-hmm. It's not like a board game, but it's still like a game. I just wouldn't call, like, my mom plays Candy Crush. I would not call her a gamer, even though she plays games.
Yeah.
But I don't know how to set the standard of, like, is this person a gamer or are they not? Or, like, what you would want to call somebody who's, like, who plays video games adamantly.
Uh-huh.
And, like, they would be somebody I would consider a gamer, even though technically the definition does include all the people who play video games. So including all those moms who play Candy Crush.
Because I remember there was actually a section in the Video Game Awards for Best App Game. And I almost felt like, I didn't even consider that they would add these in, this. Because we're there talking about, like, all these, like, AAA titles. and then they throw in app games in there, and I'm like, this just feels like they just threw this in here.
Yeah.
But then sometimes, you know, there comes an app like Pokemon Go is going to be an app. So then I feel like it's almost going to open the floodgates for all these apps to, you know, really claim their video gamedom, you know? And it's kind of like, oh, I guess maybe we should start considering these more seriously. But then there is Candy Crush.
I guess it's
really hard.
just kind of goes back to if it's digital and if it's a game, then it's a video game. I guess that kind of helps out our definition too. If we're looking at the narrative-driven games, do you think just because they're digital, they become video games? Like, what else would they be? I don't know.
Well, I think at the point we're talking about is the narrative games, video games, is we're trying to define the term games more than we are video games.
Okay.
Because the ones I wouldn't consider video games are the ones that I wouldn't even consider games at all.
Yeah.
Just experiences.
Yeah, like a video.
And some people get really heated when you tell them, like, oh, that game's not a game. It's just an experience. But I think there's value in just being an experience as well.
Yeah.
Like, having to market yourself as a video game can sometimes, like, hurt you in a way, because you're marketing this thing as a video game, and when people play it,
there's a lot more expectations.
Yeah, it's almost not a video game, then people are not going to be happy. Whereas if you market it as an experience, like, that could be just about anything. Like, you experience everything.
Yeah.
So
I guess a good example of those would be, like, pretty much any Oculus Rift game. Because basically what they did was they put you, like, in an ocean. And then you'd be walking along and you'd just be looking around. And there'd be, like, a shark that pops out. And that would be the whole thing, you know?
Yeah.
And then is that a video game? I don't think so. I think it's an Oculus Rift experience. But then, like, that's pretty much all of the games that came out for Oculus Rift.
Yeah, I remember there was the one where it was, like, I don't remember what it was called, but you put your hands on the keyboard and just press down.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Just, like, don't move or something.
Yeah, and then, like, random stuff would start happening to, like, freak you out or whatever.
Yeah,
like, I wouldn't consider that a game. That's just an experience.
Yeah. It's like watching a YouTube video.
Yeah.
I see. Okay. I think we kind of come down to what we got here.
It's very hard to define
it is
what
hard.
a video game is.
But
Because there's a difference between the actual definition and a connotation. Because when I hear video game, I think of, you know, like an experience that, like, takes you a week, and then afterward you're talking with your friends about it, you know, rather than, oh yeah, I got this ending in this Tales from the Borderlands. What did you get?
Well, I would even consider that, like, enough, whereas I would consider, like when you watch a movie, you're like, hey, I saw this movie, and of course, there's always that dumb person who's like, did you see this part? And you're like, yeah, I saw the movie.
Yeah.
Of course I saw this
There's only
part.
one version of the movie in the theaters.
Whereas if it was like, oh yeah, I got this ending because this happened, and then, like, I said this to this person, and this person's like, oh, well, I said this, and then this happened, I got this ending. Like, that, I would still consider that a discussion about a video game versus, like, something where it's a straight line. You just experience what's there, and then you move on to the next thing to experience. And then you could be like, well, I played Dear Esther, and another person's like, cool, me too. What did you think? And it was like,
Did you see that part in Dear Esther?
Like, of course I did. Everybody who played Dear Esther.
Exactly, yeah.
And at that point, you almost have to say, like, did you play Dear Esther, or did you just experience Dear Esther? Did you... I wouldn't say did you watch Dear Esther, because you did more than watch. You at least walked around in the world they created. But you had no impact. You might as well have been like a ghost on the ground.
Have you ever seen that game Charade?
No.
Oh, well, you're a guy and you go to these two people's house.
Oh,
and the whole thing is you type in the responses, and then they have, like, reactions based on whatever you said.
Yeah.
And, like, I feel like I don't even think I could have that much fun playing it, but watching other people play it is, like, some of the funniest things ever. And, like, that's kind of borderline, but, like, some of the things, like, you can get really creative with it and get, like, really funny reactions. And, like, you can end it at different times, so you can actually progress farther if you're normal, but then get kicked out right away if you're, like, really rude or crazy. So that's kind of a funny example of a video game where it's just pure,
Interaction,
like interactions.
Yeah. So I guess it just comes down to if you can interact with it, it's a video game.
Yes.
That's our definition.
Mm-hmm.
If you can impact
The world and the story and the people.
And
Yeah.
you can
characters.
enrich your environment just by
Yes.
being there.
Exactly. You have to be important to
Yes.
the whole
Which
thing.
is actually a really good argument for why Stanley's Parable is a good game, because it wouldn't exist if you weren't playing it.
If Stanley wasn't there would be no parable.
Exactly. Or would there? Is there anything else you guys want to discuss about of this topic?
I think that was a good end.
I think.
I think that's a spot to end there.
Okay. Well, thank you for listening to the 8-Bit Ramblers. We hope you enjoyed it, and we're hoping to see you in the next podcast. So,
Yeah.
bye.
Bye.
Bye.